Now in this module of the course we're going to be covering something very important, which is this 3 seconds. Now that doesn't have much context, but by the end of this video you're not only going to be aware of it, you're going to understand the importance of it and how it can help you grow your business and actually make sure that when it comes to content creation you're pushing out content that gives the right message but also communicates it in a way that's relevant and up to date in real time. So we're going to do this in one take, so I'll be making edits, we'll be going through the whiteboard changes. But what does 3 seconds mean? Now, the topic of this module is that your audience lives in a 3-second world. So we need to understand what does that mean and how is that going to change and deter the type of content that we're putting out. Your content is really just a means of communication. So how you communicate with your audience essentially is going to dictate how they will respond, because if we look at social media, the basis of it is that it works purely on a give and receive basis. You put something out and they are then going to receive that. They can leave comments, they can like it, they can engage with it. But this has changed significantly over the past 10 to 20 years, ever since social media first came out. It's always changing and it is always adapting. So you need to make sure that you are always adapting your content, and the current stage that we are at is this 3-second world. And what that basically means is everything that you're posting, it needs to be available within 3 seconds. You need to be able to hook your audience. You need to be able to make sure that you're speaking to them in that immediate first 3 seconds. And we can wrap this video up really here by saying you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. All you've got to do is forget the whiteboard for a second, just look at what's going on. Next time you're with someone, next time you're even doing it yourself, look at how fast you're scrolling. I actually learned an interesting statistic the other day, and per week the average person will scroll the length of the Eiffel Tower on TikTok every single week without fail. So you basically got to look at that statement there and that like arbitrage of just wasted time and understand that this 3 seconds is now more important than ever. So your content is generally going to be composed of your actual material or your creative, and then you've got the caption. So you've got the design, which is here, and then you've got the content or the caption, right? And then we'll do caption here. Now the good thing here is that whilst we're talking about social media as a whole, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the good thing here is that what you apply here can pretty much be applied anywhere, and all you've got to do is just make sure that your content is a lot more shorter, a lot more engaging, and you basically want to make sure that within that 3 seconds you have to give them a reason. Again, going back to the first point, social media is governed on give and receive. You've got to give them a reason to continue watching within the first 3 seconds for you to then receive their time to watch that video. Now, this is almost like fast food, right? Everybody wants something and they want it fast. In fact, they don't even want it fast, they want something yesterday. So when your audience is scrolling, they're constantly looking for a reason to be what? They're looking for a reason to be stopped from scrolling. So you need to start looking at who it is that you're wanting to speak to. So now we've sort of understood the concepts of this 3-second world and how it works. What do we need to do to actually start winning the game? So we need to understand you, and that's going to be composed of offer, business, service, and so on. You've then got your audience, and this generally is gonna, you could go from this course onto another, you could be on school, it could be anything. So audience can sometimes be titled as avatar, dream 100, niche, tribe, whatever it may be. The two concepts you need to understand when it comes to mastering and gaining power over this 3-second world is who are you, what is your business and what it is that you do, and who is your audience. Because basically what you need to do is bridge the gap between the two. When problems happen, whether that be in society, relationships, anything, whatever it is, there is always a breakdown of communication. Somebody falls out with someone because they didn't communicate a point correctly. Divorces happen because they don't communicate problems effectively. You need to make sure that when it comes to you, your audience, and your offer, and your, ideal person you want to work with, how well are you able to communicate with them? So start thinking about pain points. Then you want to think of dream outcomes. And these two want to make up the caption when it comes to your content. So we know that obviously in this 3-second world, we use it in video format, because a video we can create transitions, we can create clips. So what you're able to do is, if you've got a client transformation, instead of just filming a typical pan around shot where you're just walking around, you can now film these 1 to 2 second minute clips, and then on the platform like Canva, which we've already covered on a tutorial, adding all these fancy transitions, so it's one swiftly into another. You're reducing as much friction as possible within that video. So when it comes to the pain points and the dream outcomes, you can basically highlight this within that first 3 seconds. So you can either go through their pain points or you can go through their dream outcome. I chose to focus on those specifically because that is only ever what your audience is doing. They're only ever moving towards their ideal outcome, towards pleasure, or away from their pain points. So you can forget really about the features of your service. So you've obviously understood yourself. That doesn't mean that in this 3 second world you can now just do a 2 second reel and say, we have tailored training programs, or we have a consultation. None of it actually matters. You really need to be appealing to their pain points, because people, one, they're buying into you as a person, and two, they're buying the solution, not the actual whatever it is that you're selling. You need to be in the business of problem solving. And I'm unloading a lot of information of you now, and this is like genuinely, this isn't a video to give you like frameworks to go and follow. I'm giving you this video to help you become more self-aware and understand what's going on. Sometimes understanding there's a problem, in fact always understanding there's a problem, is the first step to actually overcoming it. If you're still in the region of posting content that is posting content that is just getting it out there for the sake of it, you're going to get lost and you're going to get overpowered by this 3 second concept. So the good thing here is that if you are rigid in your message, which you should be, you should have a certain type of people that you want to work with. All you're doing is just translating it. You're just changing the vehicle, right? We've already covered that content is just means of communication. So what you're sort of looking at here is the message still stays the same. So if you've got a transformation that you want to speak to, you've got, it could be a call to action, like you're doing like a last call for a program that you're launching. It could be anything. The message can absolutely still stay the same. It almost must, right? Because then what's going to happen is you're living in a 3 second world, but you're on a circus stage because all you're doing is dancing for views and using trending audios, and you just look like a moron, right? The message still has to stay the same. You still have to have a strong amount of rigor when it comes to the fact that you are a business owner, you do have an empire to run. So all you're doing is changing the vehicle. So 5 years ago, you could easily post a still photo. You could post Instagram basically started out as a platform to share photos of your dogs and animals, right? And stuff like that would get thousands of likes. It never really was like a monetized platform. It was like a digital photo gallery that you could just give your friends and close friends access to, right? That's all changed now. You need to always be using Instagram in a way that's more relative. So again, the message stays the same, but we're now looking at shorter form content, people that stuff is accessible. The barrier to entry, so how quick can somebody digest your content, needs to be as quick as possible. So a simple example would be, instead of doing a simple post, which would just be like a square post, you would now do it in a reel, which would be faster transitions. But then what you also want to make sure that you're doing is making sure that the information, the message, is still the same, but the barrier to entry is a lot lower. Now, I'm drawing arrows and it's generally looking a bit messy here, but what you want to make sure to do is, if you're focusing on fat loss, for example, everybody knows prerequisites are calorie deficit, eat more protein, but eat less than what you're actually burning. And then from there, you basically want to make sure that that is not too in-depth, right? So the message still stays the same, but you just change the vehicle, the barrier to entry. So instead of doing some massive PubMed documentary that is just pages and pages long and you're reaching the max character length, you really just want to use a 3 second clip of you in the gym, lifting, a client transformation, whatever, and just read the caption to learn out how to lose fat. Simple. You're appealing to the pain point. You're also appealing to their desired outcome because they want to lose fat and they're struggling right now. And then all you're doing is directing them to the caption. A good thing and a very important thing that you need to know about this 3 second world is that it's a consequence, because people are so brainwashed and they lack the inability to think for themselves. I know that sounds kind of insulting, but what that basically means is it's a cry for help from your audience, because now more than ever people want to be led. They want to be told what to do. So you've got to use your content when you're using this 3 second world that you basically can tell them what to do. So if you want people to sign up, sign up. If you want them to book a consultation, you have to tell them that. But the idea is that with this 3 second world, you have to tailor the content so that it's relative and in real time. And chances are in a year's time, it could be 2 seconds. Maybe we do a great reset and it goes back up to like 2 minutes, where people want to actually be digesting what's going through. Anything can generally happen, but we need to understand that your power is in the moment of right now, and we do genuinely live in a 3 second world.